Hello and welcome to today's Almost Daily Devotion. We're in Luke chapter 17 and we're going to start with the first verse, and it goes like this. Jesus said to his disciples, "Things that cause people to trip and fall into sin must happen, but how terrible it is for the person through whom they happen. It would be better for them to be thrown into a lake with a large stone hung around their necks than to cause one of these little ones to trip and fall into sin. Watch yourself. If your brother or sister sins, warn them to stop. If they change their hearts and lives, forgive them. Even if someone sins against you 7 times in one day and returns to you 7 times and says, 'I am changing my ways,' you must forgive that person." The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you had faith the size of a mustard seed, you could say this to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Would any of you say to your servant who had just come in from the field after plowing or tending sheep, 'Come, sit down for dinner'? Wouldn't you say instead, 'Fix my dinner, put on the clothes of a table servant, and wait on me while I eat and drink? After that you can eat and drink'? You won't thank the servant because the servant did what you asked, will you? In the same way, when you have done everything required of you, you should say, 'We servants deserve no special praise. We have only done our duty.'" This is a challenging passage. It seems harsh. We don't like harsh Jesus. We like Buddy Christ. We like, from Dogma, Buddy Christ, Buddy Jesus, the statue who's pointing his fingers at us and winking. We like that Jesus. We like what a friend I have in Jesus. We like healing lepers, Jesus. We got a big problem with Jesus who calls us on our stuff, who calls us to account, who calls us on and says, "Stop." I don't know if you've ever been on the other side of a come to Jesus meeting, which I have done. I have been on both sides of a come to Jesus meeting. But it's essentially a time when somebody says, "I'm just going to be straight with you. I'm going to be honest with you. This is my issue. This is where I see you falling short. It's time for you to come to Jesus." And I think all of us at times need a little dose of reality from Jesus, which is that we don't get bonus points for doing what we're supposed to do. My husband and I used to get in arguments about that. I would do something especially cool and I would want him to praise me, or he would do the chores that he was supposed to do, and then he'd expect me to thank him, and I would say, "What, do you want a cookie?" Which was not a great, not good relationship skills. I don't recommend it. But sometimes when you're young and married, you say stupid things. But there is a certain level of expectations in a relationship. There's a certain level of expectations when you're married to someone that you expect them to hold up their end of the bargain, right? And it helps when we're clear about what those expectations are. It helps when each person in the relationship knows what the other person needs from them. And so in our older married life, we've come to a place where we have a running to-do list on the refrigerator. The things that are expected of one another. We sat down and made a list of which chores each of us were responsible for. And it's not 100%, and some days we don't do as well as others, but having those clear expectations made a huge difference for us. Because neither one of us got upset when the other person didn't live up to our invisible expectations. Neither one of us expected praise for the things that we were expected to do anyway. And this is really what Jesus is saying. It's that we're expected to serve God. We're expected to show up. We're expected to be present in God's ministry in the world. We don't get extra credit for showing up. We just get the regular credit. But here's the really cool thing, is that the regular credit from Jesus is pretty awesome. The love we have of Jesus, the grace we receive from Jesus, inspires us to lives of service. And so we go out and we serve, knowing that often that service will not be rewarded. At least not in a tangible way. but we go out in service because that is what Jesus does and Jesus expects from us to do. And the reward we receive from that is a greater awareness of God's grace, God's mercy in our lives. Because each time we extend a hand, each time we help, each time we love another person, we get better at it. We experience more of it. We become a better channel of God's love in the world. And so when we restore other people to community, when we extend that hand, when we offer God's grace, that is the least that we can do. And so every day we can practice being a little bit better at it. Because that is the expectations that Jesus has made clear to us. Maybe this is your come to Jesus moment. Maybe you're not ready to receive God's grace, but either way, we know what a life of faith means and what's expected. You just got to be brave enough and strong enough to go out and live it. God bless.